within all of us there's this incredible feeling of urgency, of really wanting to wake up. And I call that the evolutionary impulse. So God has these two great forms. One is, say, vast, spacious emptiness, and the second form is this evolutionary impulse. This impulse to continually grow, to continually discover, to continually open to greater and greater realms within itself. And if you really open to that in a sincere way, and most people on the spiritual path, they have this deep desire to know God in all of her forms. And so, if you have that fire within you, I encourage you to continue to throw logs onto that fire, to give your life fully to that fire. And if you look at any of the great realizers, throughout history, they gave everything to the spiritual path. Everything. Some of them just about went crazy, went mad on this search for truth. I know for me it absolutely drove me completely and totally nuts. But there was this funny thing that happened. I know I've told this story a lot, but this funny thing happened when I met my teacher Ajahn for the first time. He just looked at me and he said, "What's here all the time?" And so I just stopped, just dead in my tracks. I know, so what's here? I said, "Oh, there's a silence here. There's a peace here." And he said, "Oh, so why don't you put your attention there?" So I went and I sat down and I just really sat with this experience and noticed there's this silence here, this peace. It's huge. It's alive. It's always present. Just in that one moment, the extent of my struggle and this huge neurotic search that I had, all this anxiety, I just kind of emptied out into this peace. I realized that where I was looking is, I was continually looking for this experience in my mind. And it even feels like hell right now when I think about it, to look into my mind, to find God. And that's where most people look. They look literally into their mind. But there's nothing in the mind. But if you look into the freedom of this moment, you look into the space of awareness, you notice there's perfect peace here in every moment. Even if hell is arising, there is perfect peace here in every moment. In this peace, crazy things can arise. Difficulty can arise. People can die. Relationships can end. And we can lose all of our money. We can lose all kinds of things. So it's not a denial of the world. But if you notice that the whole world is arising in peace, it's arising in silence. When you put your attention on that silence, which is a quality of the space of awareness, the quality of your true mind, what you'll find is it grows, it opens. These walls between us and this hugeness, they begin to dissolve. If you put your attention just on your mind, your mind grows, your story grows, your confusion grows, your heartache grows. And there's no freedom there. And once you get your life figured out, there'll be another problem, and another problem, and another problem. In fact, the mind its nature is to look for problems. That's its job. And so most people, they look into their mind for freedom. No freedom there. There's only more problems. Only more problems. But when you open to this space which you are. You know, if anyone just closes their eyes, you feel space. Luminous space. It's here in every single moment of our life. And it's that willingness to open into that space. When you discover this space as yourself, a funny thing happens. All seeking dissolves. You know what you are. And it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. It heals the vast majority of your problems. For the soul's sake that you realize that what you are is divine, is God, is this vast presence. I'm not just this little human being. It doesn't mean your human life gets worked out. But when you know that who and what you are is vast, indestructible space, it's like standing on a mountaintop and you look down at some struggle you had in your life. It's not that big a deal anymore. And actually from this place, you begin to realize that this place has its own intelligence. And so if you take the next step and open to that intelligence and allow this intelligence to move through you into your life, things start to get worked out. Even if they're not worked out perfectly, our life radically transforms. It radically transforms. Now most people, when they get there, they do this funny thing. They say, okay, I made it. I realized myself as vast, spacious awareness. I'm going to plant my feet here, put up my whatever flag, become a teacher, say I'm the next guru or whatever. And that may be the right thing for one individual, but what I found is that there's so much more work to do. And so if you check in with the heart, and you realign yourself with that evolutionary impulse, that's a moment to ask God, what is my next step? And we go forward with an open heart, a humble heart into the world. And we probably have a lot of stuff within us that still needs to be cleaned up. It's not a time to say, okay, I'm going to start my church and do my thing. That's a time for us to press the pause button and begin to heal from this place of vast, spacious grace and love. Now it's time for us to deal with our humanity, to work with our humanity, to heal our humanity. And so all that attention in the beginning, that seeking that went to, I got to find God, I got to find God, I got to transcend the world, I got to do this, I got to do that. That energy, it gets liberated from, just wanting to just get out of ourselves. And that energy can become about getting into ourselves fully, so that this humanity can be a pure reflection, a true reflection of this divinity which we are. And the old secret is, from a place of humility, our humanity will never be a perfect reflection of our divinity. If anyone who thinks that, they're crazy. Our humanity is always going to be many steps behind. And so we work with our humanity. We heal all the different layers and levels of it. And at some point you'll find there's this natural impulse towards growth, towards love, towards inclusion. So the very thing that was kind of driving us in the beginning, like this inherent impatience, through this roundabout way, it gets transformed into this movement of growth. But it's growth that's rooted in this space of innate perfection. And you begin to see this perfection everywhere, even in the very imperfect world we live in. And so there's this radical response of humility, of love with the rest of life. with yourself and the rest of life? And so yeah, that's a beautiful question.